Good morning, guys. It's Michael, teacher turned trucker, coming in this morning with John chapter 19, verses 12 to 15. If you look in the way it's structured, this is a little different break than normal. I just did this for context purposes. This morning, we're going to see, I believe, the fifth iteration of Pilate essentially saying Jesus is innocent. We want to look at what it is that moves him to continue on the path of condemning Jesus. So Jesus, he knows is innocent, yet he goes ahead and condemns him anyway. So looking at verse 12, from this point on, Pilate tried to release him, but the Jewish leaders shouted out, "If you release this man, you are no friend of Caesar. Everyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar." So we're going to look at this one in a couple parts. First of all, the background is Tiberius is the Caesar at the time. And at this particular stage in his reign, he's known to be extremely jealous, extremely paranoid, and thinking others are out to get him. So, with the most whimsical of excuses or explanations, he was known to punish and just rain wrath down on people who he perceived as possibly trying to be out to get him. So this is the background that Pilate is living under. So when the Jewish leaders proclaim that if you let him go, let Jesus go, you're not a friend of Caesar. Well, this is something he is afraid of because he knows what Tiberius will do. And he doesn't want to be found to be an enemy of Caesar. He doesn't want to run the risk, and he knows it doesn't take much. And on top of that, to compound it with the idea that he would let someone go who the very nation, the religious leaders of Israel themselves are saying that this man, Jesus, was out to undermine Caesar. So it really paints Caesar into a box. But I wanted to look at something at this point because it said, if you relieve this man, well, we'll get to it. Everyone who claims to be a king opposes Caesar. This is where it was. It's in the last part of verse 12. Everyone who claims to be a king is an enemy or opposes Caesar. This is an opportunity for Pilate really to have dug his feet in a little bit, because at this point he understood, if you remember previously, Jesus was not claiming that his kingdom was earthly, was one that was present here. Pilate understood that Jesus's claim was not in competition with Caesar's position. So if Pilate had wanted to, this would have been an avenue for him to divert the attention back to the Jewish leaders and put them in a position where they had to judge Jesus and condemn him and put him to death themselves. But he allowed his own fear to direct his choices. So moving on, verse 13. When Pilate heard these words, he brought Jesus outside and sat him on the judgment seat in the place called the stone pavement, Gabbatha in Aramaic. Apparently there was this elevated platform of sorts. There's various descriptions in it. Essentially, you picture almost like a throne, elevated up some steps so that the person sitting is higher than others. And that's kind of what you have in mind here. Now, it was the day of preparation for the Passover, about noon. Pilate said to the Jewish leaders, "Look, here is your king." This first part, there's a lot of opposing interpretations, because apparently there's some grammatic or some typos in some of the manuscripts. So some say the third hour, some say noon. Some say that this is talking about the actual Passover meal. Others say it's the weekly one. So there's a lot going on here in this particular one. I think the timing is secondary at this point to what's going on. Pilate said to the Jewish leaders, "Look, here's your king." I think this phrase here is what's most important, because here what he says is true. Jesus is their king, or would be if they would accept him. But as Jesus said earlier, those who are his hear truth and respond. They don't hear it, so in there, yet again, they have another opportunity to repent, but they double down. So the reality is Jesus is their king, but they reject him. Okay? And then 15, then they shouted out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate asked, shall I crucify your king? The high priest replied, we have no king except Caesar. How true this is. They have chosen the king of the physical realm over the king of the spiritual realm. They themselves would be condemned by their own words. So this was a little bit interesting this morning as I read through this. It really brings a dichotomy between what we see, what we're living for in this present world. Are we allowing that to supersede our walk with Christ? Are we allowing that to supersede what is going to grow us more into the image of Christ? Or are we walking first with our first love, as it's stated in Revelation, Jesus Christ at front and center in everything that we say and do? This is a smaller section this morning, so the video is going to be a little shorter. If you have any comments or additional information that maybe you're aware of, feel free to share it in the boxes below, the comments below. If you're getting any value, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. I appreciate you guys, and you have a great day.